So here's the thing that I worked on before coming here. And I want to make this kind of visualization today. So if you look at here, there is a label, electronic hobbies and clothing. If you click on that, then it shows the rank. Number 1 is millennial. Number 2 is Generation X. Number 3 is baby boomers. Number 4 is traditionalist. So I have this visualization, and the moment I click on it, what happens is that in the bottom, we see percent of spending in furniture and building by generation, and it automatically updates that. You see that, right? So if I just go through gasoline, it changes, and general and miscellaneous, groceries, pharmacies, and restaurant. So the moment I click, it all just automatically updates, and that's what I will try today. And it looks cool, right? I spent a few hours to build this one myself. So you can see that the ranking is coming up there, and we're gonna, by the end of this course, today, this class, you should be able to build this one up on your own. Okay, that's what I'm hoping for you to do. Okay, so let us try. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to create this one, this graph, the upper part of visualization. And that is, it shows ranking, right? And ranking, and also the labels. And that's what we want to create. So let us try that. And I'm gonna first bring up why I'm staying there. Can I get rid of this? Can I get rid of this? Pardon? Oh, okay. Hide video panel. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so let's bring up a category first. Okay, we have category, and as you know, categories are, where they are spending money, right? Electronics or furniture, gasoline, miscellaneous or groceries, pharmacy, and restaurants. Those are the categories that they are spending money to. And we want to know how much they are spending, so percentage of spending, right? Among their income, how much they are spending. So we have categories, and it automatically created a histogram, which shows groceries is the most, the category that people are spending the most money, right? That we see here among many categories. Groceries number 1, and number 2 is general or miscellaneous, and then restaurant, and then electronic, hobbies, and clothing. The least is pharmacies, right? So they are spending the least money in pharmacies. So we can understand that. And I want to understand this by generation, right? By generation, how much do they spend? So this is good to know overall, but by generation, how much are they spending? So I can bring generation over here, or you can bring it over there, right? So that's something that you can do. What is the difference between putting generation before category or after category? If you put it before category, then the category comes first, and then under the category, how much they are spending is visualized right here, right? So baby boomers, their number 1 spending is groceries. Generation X, their number 1 spending is also groceries. But if you go to millennials, their number 1 spending is not groceries, but restaurant, right? So that's very interesting. Traditionalists also spend lots of money in groceries, but not millennials. So we see that. If you put generation after category, what happens? Categories comes first, right? So that's electronic hobbies. And then among them, who are spending the most money in this category? That's millennials. So the way you put category first or after, that makes a difference. So depending on your objectives, you want to put that there. And mine is category and generation. Let's see what happens. So let us change it to a line, then see what happens. Yeah, this is not what I want. So let's put generation in front of category. And this is not what I want either. So let me take out generation at this moment. And it look like this. What I want to do is now I change it to line from category, right? So if you change marks, and when it is automatic, it shows bar. But now I change it to line, and it looks like this. And what I want to do is I want to drag generation over color like this, right? Draw generation over color, and then you will see different line graphs, right? Different line graphs, and it shows how much they are spending. And as you can see, their most spending goes to groceries, but these millennials are spending more money on restaurant. That's a very distinct characteristics. And millennials are spending the least money on furnitures, whereas traditionalists are spending some money in there too. And here, what I want to do is I want to change this one into ranking. So this one is at this moment, looking at this spending percentage, but I want to change it to rank. So it can be done coming to this sum of spending. And if you see the downward arrow, you can click on it, and then it expands another whole slew of options. And then there, I want to go to quick table calculation. Quick table calculation. There are different methods that you can use for calculation. And at this moment, I'm not going to be using percent of spending as the main basis of calculation, but I am looking at the ranking, right? Who is number one, who is number two, number three, or number four, right? So the rank system I am looking at. So click on this rank, right? And then it gives number one, number two, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So it gave you rank for that. So for example, this blue line, baby boomers are number one for groceries, right? And these millennials are number one for restaurants, right? So that we can see. However, in rank, number one is better than number 10 or number 7 or 8. And this graph does not give that impression. We feel like number one is the least. So we want to reverse this axis, right? So we can do that by coming to this rank percent of spending, click on here, and then right click, and then that gives you an option to edit your axis, and click on edit axis. So click edit axis, and now here, there is an option called reversed, right? Reversed. So we're gonna reverse the axis. In other words, 1, 0 goes to the top, and then 1, and then 2, and 3, and 4, and so forth. So if you do that, yep, it happened already, right? So 0 went up, 1 came next, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we know that number one for grocery was baby boomers. Number one for restaurant was millennials. We can tell it right away. Make sense? And for the sake of space, I want to get rid of sheet number 1. So hide the title. And that's what we see. And then one more thing that I want to do is that I want to compute using generation. So when you are ranking, the basis is generation. So let's go to sum of spending and then compute using generation. So change from table across to generation because that's what we are seeing and comparing together. So I did that. And then I have an interesting graph that shows who is number 1, who is number 2. So now electronic hobbies, number 1 is millennials, and millennials number 1 for gas and also restaurant. Millennials are 0 or the least in general and miscellaneous category and groceries. They are the least in these categories. What about this orange line? Who are the orange? Orange is generation X, and they are in between 2 and 3 and 4, 2, 3 usually, and they are least in pharmacies, right? Because they are younger, in my opinion, right? They are younger. That's why they are not spending a lot of money in pharmacies. So those things we can understand by changing things around. When you are ranking, then you go to sum of spending there and then change it to rank and then reverse the axis and then use this one as a basis of the calculation. So that's what we want to do. Does it make sense? So far, so good, right? And then now what we want to do is we want to create this circle, right? Number 1, number 2, number 3. Let me show you. So here in this graph, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So this ranking is over there, and I want to insert this emphasis into my graph. And how do I do that, right? So one method to do that is create another graph the same as this one, and then overlap them together. And so that those things are going to be very clearly seen in this graph. So this is called a dual axis, or 2 graphs made the same at the same time, and then you put them together, overlap them together, and visualize that graph together. That's what we are going to try. So let's draw percent of spend. There are 2 methods. Let me first show you the thing that we have done just now. So just drag it again to rows like that, and that will create the same thing like that, right? So we have created that one, and then we just repeat what we have done before so that we make it look like this. So let's do this. So let's go here and quick table calculation. It has to be rank, right? We have done this, just repeat what we have done so far. And then this axis, we have to change the, reverse the scale. So click on that and reverse it, right? It reversed. And then we come over here again and go to compute using generation, right? So we have the same graph. Oh, look at here, it's already different. It's upside down, isn't it? Because the scale is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have to reverse it. Let's go edit axis, reverse. Yes, right. Now it's the same.
Like what sheet do you have to not new sheet?
No, not new sheet, the same sheet. So let me do it again for you. So I'm going to start over. So I was here, and I'm going to bring in this personal spending again. So click on it, drag it over next to rows like that. And then we have the same graph as before, and we are going to repeat what we have done for the first graph. What is that? First of all, you click downward arrow that expands options, and then you go to quick table calculation. There you choose rank, because now we are working on rank and the other things. So I'm going to go there as a rank, and ranking was then done. And then maybe you can also go back there and compute using generation, right? Compute using generation. And that's going to be done. And the last thing is reverse this scale. Right click, edit axis, and click on reversed. Then you have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the your scale, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale, and you have exactly same graph, right? So just going over, reviewing what we have done so far. Now, what I'm going to be doing is that instead of this line graph, so click on this graph, right? Choose this one. Notice on your left, you have some percent of spending. That's for a per graph. And you have below there, you have another one, some percent of spending, exactly identical. Those are the same mark, and this is for the lower graph, right? That's for lower graph. And here, instead of line graph, I'm going to change this one to circle. Okay? I'm going to change it to circle, because I want to put rank in there. So click, then I have circle, and it's color coded, and I have there's baby boomers and millennials and so forth, and I'm now ready to put them together, right? Put this one over the first graph so that they are overlapped, and I can accentuate those ranks using this circle. Does it make sense? Right, that's what I want to do. And how do I do that, right? So if you come to here, downward arrow, click on it, and there is dual axis, right? So the third one from the bottom, that is dual axis. If you click on it, what happens is that it's going to be using dual axis. One axis on the left, the other axis on the right, right? So in Excel, we sometimes do that, but Tableau made it easier to use this dual axis. So click on dual axis, then now, boom, right? These two graphs are overlapped together, and you can see that they are the same. And on the right, I have rank of the spending, and on the left, rank of the spending. And I don't need them both, right? So I'm gonna get rid of one of them. So right click on one of these axes and say, do not show axis. So show header, so uncheck, and it's gonna be gone, right? So you have it disappear, and we have that. And then, so click on one of these circle, and you see there's a first one and second one. Remember that these circles are from the second spending, right? And that's important. And go to label, click on label, and the top option is show marked label. That will show us the rank 1, 2, 3, 4. It's going to be shown there. So click on it and see what happens. So it writes the rank, right? So millennials, number 1, and baby boomers are number 2, and so forth. That's what we have. Okay, right click. Uncheck show header. Good. Next. Okay, and let's go back to label. Again, click on this circle and go back to label. And then alignment. I want to change the alignment so that this rank 1, 2, 3, 4 would go into inside of the circle, right? So I'm going to go to alignment here and change it to now. So vertical, bottom, middle, and top, and I'm going to change to middle, right? So vertical alignment should be middle, and the moment you do that, the number went inside of the circle. You know, just for experiment, what happens when we change it to the top? So let's go to label, and then go to alignment and vertical, and choose top. Then it goes above the circle, right? However, if you just put it back to middle, then it's going to go inside of the circle. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So we have ranks, right? So the left axis is unnecessary because it's a redundant information. So right click and uncheck show header, then it's going to be gone, and it'll be a much cleaner visualization. Okay. So this is the first graph that we have created. And in fact, I'm going to get rid of this category. I'm going to get rid of this category. So hide field labels for columns. So it's gone. And one more thing that I have to do, actually, a few things I have to do is this one. Right, this label at the bottom, I want to put this one at the top. That's the first thing that I want to do. And if you look at here, I want to make it black and white. That editing I want to do. So this one, if you right click, then you have keep only, exclude, hide, and format, rotation, and the show header, edit, alias, and split. So these are the options, and none of them are going to help you to move the labels to the top. It will not happen. And the thing that you have to do is you have to go to now the menus. So go up there and click on analysis, and come down to table layout. And then you have to come to advanced. Right? So analysis, table layout, and advanced. And click on it. And here at the bottom, third line from the bottom, show innermost level at bottom of view when there is a vertical axis. And this option is unchecked. You have to leave it unchecked. Then it's gonna change the label to the top. Right? I unchecked this one, show in innermost level at bottom of view. Click on OK, and now it went up. Do you see that? Move to the top. I have the menu. Good. And now I can, do some formatting for these labels. So right-click right here and go to Format. And on your left pane, it opens Format Category, and I'm going to change the font. The shade, let's change the shading first. I'm going to change to black, right? So shading became black, and font, I'm going to change it to white. So first of all, I'm going to make it about 10 and white. And the font, I want to change it to bold, 10 and white. Very good. And I'm going to just adjust the size so I can see it more clearly like that. So I have now menu up there. And one more thing I forgot. So it has highlight. So let's go to alignment here. Alignment, it says automatic. And here's wrap, turn it on, right? Turn it on. And vertically, it has to be centered, horizontally centered. Okay, so it's highlighting like that. And it's moving like this. So by doing this, you are done with the first visualization. Good. So ranking is done. Second, so let's change the name. So spending ranking. Spending ranking, right? So that's the first one that we created. Now, second one that we will create is this. So we have the first one created, and second one is this. So these bar graphs that I want to create together with these bar graphs. So the bar graphs, we have baby boomers, and then the percentage that they are spending, that's there. So let's see what happens. And rows, we have category. Oops, category. And spending is on the columns like that. And we also need to add generation right here. So like this. So I want you to create a bar graph like that, a new one. So spending at the columns and category first for rows and then generation next. And then it automatically creates a bar graph like this. Or you can specify as bar graph, right? So it's the same. And then to give color, what do you do? So you just bring color, generation, drop it off over color, then it gives you color. It shows you that these are the things that you can do. And it looks very unorganized at this moment. So what I want to do is I want to sort it. So the beauty of Tableau is that it allows you to do this sorting very easily. So hover over this cell, so right next generation, and then descending order, and it's going to sort for you in descending order. And it's very organized, right? So we can tell that hobbies and clothing, millennials, so number one, furniture and building, baby boomers, gasoline, millennials, and miscellaneous, traditionalists, groceries, traditionalists, pharmacists, traditionalists, and so forth. You can tell it right away by using this simple sorting function. This is not available in Excel, but in Tableau, it's such an easy thing to do. And I do not want to show category, although I want to have this graph, these two columns I want to get rid of. That's what I want to do. So first of all, I'm going to say, get rid of it, right? So I'm going to come over here, right click, show header, uncheck it, then it's gone. The first column is gone. Uncheck, show header. And then I have generation and this graph, right? Now, I want to put this one over here. So if you look at this graph, I have these categories on the bar graph, right? Right? But this one has a separate column. And I want to get rid of it and somehow move this one over here. That's what I want to do. And it's not possible with one graph like this. And as we have done before, what we need to do is we want to create another graph and overlap that together. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to create the same graph right here. And there's two methods. The first method I showed you, the first method is just dragging it, the same thing, and putting it right next to sum of spending. That's the method that you can do, right? And then it's not, is it the same? Yeah, it is the same. So we have not done much, so it is the same. Or another method is if you just bring it back. Another thing that you can do is you can just, if you have done some things like, you use rank or generation as a computing basis or something, then it's difficult to repeat what you have done. So what you do is you click on, if you're using Mac, press command, and then click on the sum of spending, and then move it over. It's going to copy the same thing like this. If you're using PC, then it's control, right? Press control, and then click on sum of spending, then move it over, right? That's going to copy the same configuration. So that's what I would do, because I don't want to repeat all of the things that I have done. And I have exactly same graphs, and that's good, right? It is good. And what I want to do here is that I want to synchronize them. So please see what I do here. So right click. Oh. So I'm not going to be doing it. This is going to be a little bit later. I'm going to do that. So let me do other things first. First of all, I want to display these millennials and so forth on this graph, on the left graph. So click on this graph, and then right click and go to format. I'm sorry, it's not format actually. Go to label. Click on label. Let me do it again because I confused you. So click on one of bars on the left graph like that, and click on label. And then you know what to do, right? Check on show mark labels. That's not what I meant. Yeah, so sorry about that. I confused you. Let me do it again. Undo it, undo it. So what I need to do is I'm gonna drag generation to label, actually. That's what I need to do. So click on this and drag generation to label. Do this, because I want to show this generation on there, right? Boom, right? So the moment you do, what happens is that you have millennials, generation X, and so forth on there. And I just need to move them to the left, right? So let's click on that, right click, and go to format. Let's go to format. Click on it. Let's go to label, sorry. Let's go to label. So do it again, okay? So click on this millennial or generation X and so forth. Click on it and click on label. Label. And then I'm going to go to this alignment, and I'm going to say horizontal and then left, align left. Look at here, align left. So as soon as you do, what happens is that those labels move to the left. Right? Aligned left. And if I see here, it's too blurry. So what I'm going to be doing is, let's go back to label and font. Let's go to font. And I'm going to change it to white. And it's going to be 10. Let's change it 10. And the font, let's change it to tabular bold. Good. So we have now tabular bold. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all these colors on this left graph. So this bar graphs has colors, and I'm going to get rid of it. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just click on here and then go to color. Okay, let's do it again. So click on this bar graph and click on color. And then here's opacity, and I'm going to make it 0. Right? And it's gone. Okay. I made it 0, so it's transparent. And it looks like there's nothing, right? And then I'm gonna get rid of this column as well. I don't need this. Right click, uncheck, show header, and it's gone. And the last thing that I need to do is I need to just bring it over to left graph. So they are overlapped, and it's going to be showing both of them together. And how do I do that? Here, right click, and you use dual axis, right? Dual axis. So put them together. That's what it means. So click on dual axis, and boom, it's now overlapping. Synchronize. Yeah. So if some things are happening, one thing that you can do is synchronize. Yeah, I experienced that before. Yeah, I remember now. So right click here and synchronize axis. I think that was the secret. Synchronize, and that'll work now. So, and then do alignment left. Okay, that's good. And look at here. Now the first one, I'm going to go to the first one here, and I'm going to show the label. Actually, the second one, show the label. So show mark labels. Then it is going to display the percentage of the spending. So what I did was I clicked on this, and that's the second one. So sum of spending, and then I went to label and clicked on show mark labels. And then that will display the percentage that I have spending of the generation.
That's the question. Why do we make the one graph orange disappear? Is this not one? That's what it looked like. So what was the point of doing the two graphs just to?
Oh yeah. Sometimes the size of the graph can change, right? So they may not be exactly the same size. That's one concern. The second thing is just to avoid the errors when things going wrong, and I don't want to show the first one if there's anything with it. That's safer. Technically, you can show them together. Maybe you can try. The last thing that I want to do is I want to change this 18.5 this thing to percentage. Okay, so click on this 18.5, and I'm going to go to a format. Right click and go to format. And that's some percent of spending. Click on it. And here, click on pane rather than axis, because that's what we are working on. And this number format, I'm going to change it to percentage. And the decimal place we have is 1 decimal place. Percentage, 1 decimal place, right? So we changed from 0.1850 to 18.5%. Very good. And let's rename it as spending by generation. Spending by generation. So I have second worksheet. Second sheet is spending by generation. We complete them both. Okay, let's get rid of the spending percentage because we don't need this anymore. Right click, uncheck show header, and it's gone. And I'm going to get rid of spending by generation. This one I don't need. So hide title, and it's gone. And I have this. Okay, the last worksheet that I'm going to create is this. So I'm going to now create category and generation spending. And generation comes to color. I'm going to put bar graph. Let's make a okay, so let's create just simple and say spending and what I am going to be doing is I'm going to create tooltip. So I'm going to go to spending by generation, go back to spending by generation, and go to tooltip. We are going to create an additional, we're going to insert this graph into this spending by generation. So we learned it, right? So come to insert, click on insert. I'm going to insert a sheet, which is spending detail. Click on it. It says spending detail right here, and the 300 filter all fields. So click on all fields and select all fields. So only the field only, but not the double quotation, right? Only replace this all fields and go to insert again. And I'm gonna make generation as the field that correspond to this worksheet. Click on it, replaced it. So now filter equals quotation and generation, right? That's what I want to do. And click on OK. Then now you are going to be able to see what's going to happen there. It's not appearing. What happened? Let me see why it's not appearing. Oh, where did it go? Did I do it? Did I cancel? Is it appearing in your case or no? Not appearing? Okay, when I did by spending, it appears. Let's go to the dynamic tooltip again. If I change it to generations, what happens? Oh yeah, it appears, right? So it appears like this. And that's what I want to do. And now let's go to dashboard. My job is done, and I'm going to create a dashboard for myself. And this is going to be a dynamic dashboard. I'm going to start with spending ranking. I'm going to put it up there. And then spending by generation is going to be at the bottom, like that, right? So I have this together. And I taught you how to connect them together before. And I don't need this thing because we already have it. So I have to get rid of it. Right. So I have this here. And if you just click on this filter, this is going to be the worksheet that determines to change things at the bottom too. So if you click on there, it's going to change like this, right? Which is good. And if you come over there, it's going to show a detail of the spending, right? But let me show you, let me uncheck this filter, and I'm going to show you how to choreograph the dynamic filtering with each other. So if you go to now dashboard, there is a thing called actions, right? You go to actions, and then I want to coordinate the relationship between these two worksheets. And what I want to do is, in this worksheet, I want to create action, and this is a filtering option. There are, highlighting or going to URL or worksheet, something like that, but you are going to be mainly using filtering. And this is dashboard one filter. You can name it if you want. At this moment, I'm not going to name it, and just go there. So on the left, source sheet says, yeah, this worksheet is going to be the main thing that control everything. This is the basis of control. So in that case, sometimes all of the worksheets are going to be the sources of control, but sometimes only one thing. And in this case, I'm going to make spending ranking as the source of control. This is the main thing that you want to click, and the other things are going to change. And then the next thing that I want to do is spending by generation and spending rank. Spending by generation is going to be changed according to what we do there. So, and I'm going to click on it. Oh, I'm sorry. And then there are two things. When does it change? When you're selecting, it changes. And sometimes when you hover over that, it changes. Let's try hover over. So let's click on hover and see what happens there. And then another important thing is clearing the selection wheel, keep filtered values, or you can say exclude all other values that are not relevant to the clicking. Then you can click on this exclude all values, and then hit OK. Hit OK, and let's see what happens. When you hover over, it's going to change, right? So when you hover, so in this case, you are just hovering over and it changes. But the downside of that is the moment you just move away from this place, it's gonna disappear. So it's good because you just hover over it. You don't have to click, and everything shows. That's a good thing. However, you cannot click. So when you move away from the place, it disappears. So that in that sense is not good. So let's go back to dashboard and the actions. And I'm going to change it to, I'm going to edit, click on filter one, edit, and I'm going to just hit select rather than hovering over, click on OK, and I'm going to now click, and it's over there, and then I can see different graphs. And now, if you have done the main functions, what do you need to do? You just need to make it look better. for example, I did here, where does each generation spend their money? There's the central question. So let's put title together. So, so text, click on text and bring it over there. And then right here, where does each generation spend money? Right? That's the first question. Their money. And click the categories below to view. And then the second line is click the categories to view the detail. And then I'm going to highlight the first line and then change the font to say 15. And I'm going to make it say green. And then the second one, maybe I can change to 12 and leave it maybe as blue. And then I'm going to change then the font from the book to bold, and also the alignment to center. And then I can adjust the size. And I'm going to get rid of spending ranking here, right click and hide the title. So that hide the title. And spending generation. So I want to hide this title too. So hide the title. If you click on that, it's going to appear. And I'm going to put this second title over there, percent of spending in future furniture building by generation. So notice that this one, if I click on it, gasoline, it changes. When I click on this title changes as well, right? It corresponds to your title. So the thing is that you can create your own title and then connect it to your dashboard too. So let's go to here, new worksheet. So click on it. And then I'm going to create a title that is corresponding to category. So you're going to just say title, right? So I just put it over text, right? Or label. So I just brought it over here. So I have the title. And I'm going to get rid of this sheet 4. Hide the title. And then I'm going to change this one. Oh, where am I working? I'm working on different workbook. So let me do it again. So I created a new one and then bringing the category over to text. And I have that and hiding the title. And then renaming it as subtitle. And then if you desire, you can change the colors as well if you want. But let's go to dashboard and subtitle, bring it over in between. Like that. And then you're going to make it smaller. And I don't need the title, so hide the title. And it has really small thing there. For example, if I click on it, so we have this. So look at this small square, and you want to make it bigger, like this. And even you can right click. Let's go to format. And let's see category and the font. You can change the 12, maybe green. And there's no shading. and then click on it. So you can see that it is changing. And not sure. I think I have to go back to the subtitle and change right here. Format, text, category. Yeah, I have to change here. So that is percent of spending in gasoline. So percent of spending in this category by generation. And I'm going to change this color to red, and by generation. All else is going to be just green. And I'm going to make it bigger to 12. And align left. And that's done. Let's go back. Oh, I should make it bold. Right click. Go there. Make it bold. Come back. It is bold. Now gasoline, miscellaneous, groceries, pharmacies, and it is changing as it is. And you can make the bottom part bigger. And then I have a visualization.